We are now at Group F, which consists of Belgium, Morocco, Croatia, and CONCACAF's very own Canada.
It almost feels like it's 3 European teams in the CONCACAF teams simply because of the personnel that Morocco.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the most European African team.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. You know, you could say Senegal, all their players are based in Europe, sure, but a lot of them actually started, club football in their teens in Africa, whereas a lot of these Moroccans, just in general, started their career in Europe, just straight up. When I look at this group, I'm just like, shit, this is a tough group pretty much for every team that's in this group.
Morocco, in order to get to the World Cup, had to defeat Congo 5-2 in aggregate after they tied 1-1 in the first leg.
Going into that, I was actually thinking Congo could win this tie. Congo took it to Morocco, played a very offensive type of football, and really didn't let Morocco get a hold of the game throughout the course of the 90 minutes in the DR Congo. 1-1. Congo probably could have won this game.
Oh, they were their worst enemy in that game.
Yeah,
they had three good chances in that first half. They were their own worst enemy there, and that's what sucks about that result, because you leave it thinking, damn it, like you got to take advantage of that.
I was pissed. Anybody knows when you're an underdog team facing up a team that you're probably going to lose to, if you get your chances, you have to finish them, because otherwise those missed opportunities will come back to bite you in the worst possible way. Yeah. And that is exactly what happened here. Congo then go to Morocco and get absolutely walloped by this Moroccan team. Yeah. And the thing is, it was a very impressive win. I watched the whole thing and I was like, God damn, this is the best I've seen Morocco play probably ever. Even under that 2018 Hervé Renard team, where there's a lot of potential with that team, they never really reached their heights. They still haven't reached their heights, but they reached it on that night because they absolutely dazzled. Tissoudali, dude, he's good.
Yeah,
I hadn't actually seen him play. I'd heard that he's been playing really well in Belgium. I think just scoring a lot of goals there. His form is completely translated to this international team. Probably only a couple caps for the international team just total. And what a time to be informed. Tissoudali can continue this. He might completely erase the absence of Ziyech.
Dude.
Yeah. Because honestly, he kind of looks like him too. It's kind of funny. If you're Moroccan, you're really excited that Tissoudali.
You found him,
That you found him. Sofiane Boufal's playing at a high level, obviously.
Like the leadership of Saiss in the back. Yeah. Playing really well. And Amrabat in the middle. You got a solid squad now. And yes, they had not just incredible, like a statement with that victory. 4-1, I believe, with a banger. We got to talk about that goal from Congo, man. Incredible, just off the chest.
Off the chest, little volley. I mean, one of the most cleanest strikes I've seen in a while. Yeah. Just based on how clean that shit was. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Man.
But Morocco scored some bangers too. Onahi, Onahi, it's something like that. He played really well the center of the park for Morocco. Very active on both ends defensively and offensively. Obviously, he was involved, I think, with like 2 out of the 4 goals. Again, another player that I hadn't really seen feature for this Moroccan side. So I was very impressed based off of that singular performance against the Congo. Not even that it was against a weaker team, but if they play with that same style, I think this Moroccan team can really handle a lot of higher quality teams. And they're going to need to in this group.
To put them up in a group with Belgium, Canada, and Croatia, right off the bat, we're going to see if this Moroccan team can handle themselves in a setting like this, as difficult as this is, or if they'll just, at the end of the day, get overrun by the quality of these other teams.
Morocco's coach, Vahid Halilhodzic, took a very bland Algerian team to an incredible round of 16 run in 2014. That team had zero expectation, and instead, they were one of the most entertaining teams to watch. Yeah. So I can kind of see a similar thing. And it's interesting because I think there was a lot of pressure on for Morocco in 2018. Yeah. There was a lot of – the media was really hyping up their squad because there was reason to. It was a very European-based squad, and there was a lot of young talent. Now that hype is kind of gone from the media, so now they just kind of go out there and play football. With a result like that, getting into this World Cup, if they can just build on that, I think Morocco could just be a surprise for honestly a lot of people.
Croatia, who were the finalists in our last World Cup.
Right.
Magical run. lost, but they were carried by the likes of Modric, who then won the Ballon d'Oro that year because of that performance.
Mandzukic had a good tournament.
Perisic, just an incredible mix of that golden generation of Croatia. And it came into full effect that tournament. Mm-hmm. It finally realized itself. You couldn't help but be happy for the Croatians to achieve something like that the first time in their history. It was a beautiful thing to see. They find themselves back at this tournament, and I'm happy because to me, a World Cup isn't a World Cup without Croatia, without that iconic red and white jersey, checkered jersey that they wear. Yeah. I like having them be a part of this footballing ceremony. And the team is in an interesting time this time around. I think they're more so in a transitionary period coming off of that incredible run in 2018. They're starting to have a new influx of players come into the team while others are aging.
They're definitely in a transitionary period for sure. What's interesting and maybe kind of a downside if you're a big Croatian fan is that's the problem. Not only are they in a transitionary period, I would say they're in a confused transitionary period because they almost don't know what to do with the old guard that took them to the finals and the youth that's incoming.
I'll actually call them the European Mexico.
Yes.
Very similar.
Very similar. Even if you have a 35-year-old Modric or however old he's going to be, you're still going to play him because he's world class. Yeah. He's world class. I mean, he's playing obviously really well with Madrid right now. But even not even take Modric, take other players who are, growing in age, you still can't find a reason to not play them because they've played at such a high level in Europe for so long. They've been in the Croatian international system for so long. They get it. It's routine for them to play at such a high level at this point. So you can't not call them up anymore. But the thing is, I think it's kind of that downside, though, because where does Croatia really go from here? I just don't think they figured out how to take the old guard and mix it in with youth. The thing is they're obviously still very, very talented, so they're not going to be easy to beat, and they're still going to be somewhat threatening. But ultimately, when it comes down to the best of the best, or even Croatia gets maybe a very underdog, feisty side, like let's say Morocco. Yeah. I don't know if Croatia can pull this off anymore. They're still very technical, whether they're young or old. So Croatia will still have some sort of unknown factor to them to whether can they win a game, because they can. They have the quality. Can they do it against, let's say, a young Moroccan team, a young Canadian team, or a very still in their prime experienced Belgian team? I don't know.
The biggest question is, do they have enough left in the tank?
That sums it up.
I think the answer is no, at least for me, because this time it's almost a little grim. It's almost like very limited. I see like a ceiling on this Croatian team.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's any sort of reason why we should expect them to make even quarters. I think around a 16.
I think that's as far as they go.
Would be really good for this Croatian team because of the reasons that you stated. Is there enough there for them to take advantage of? And I just don't see it at the end of the day.
Yeah, offensively, their front three is just. It's old now, and there really isn't that next Croatian to really take the reins from the wingers or from the striker. Their midfield maybe doesn't need youthful invigoration because you still have top class players who know how to use space and pass the ball. So that's fine. But then it gets to a point where you're basically like Sweden, where you can boss the game, you can dominate possession, but are you going to score any goals? Probably not. And you're going to concede against very good sides. You're at the World Cup. You're going to let in a goal or two. So when it comes down to it, I question Croatia's offense because I just don't think it's there anymore.
Yeah. Belgium. I think every single tournament I've seen Belgium go into, me personally, I'm so naive sometimes when it comes to the game of football. Belgium's like one team that I've always just given a chance to, no matter what. I think I've said this sentence, Belgium is a dark horse, like 5 times in the past decade, bro.
Everybody has.
God,
everybody since 2012 Euros. Yeah. Everyone has said, hey, keep an eye on this Belgian team. They're the dark horses. That has been said for literally a decade now.
Yeah. There is a genuine talent pool at this team that should impress, that should deliver. Belgium is in the midst of their golden generation, has been for like the past 6 years now. Yeah. With the likes of De Bruyne, Lukaku, the Hazard brothers. It's a loaded team with really special talent. And so people have this idea that they'll one day achieve something. You look at what happened in 2018, that's probably their peak. Where they reached the semis and lost the eventual champion, coming off an incredible match against Brazil where they won 2-0. And I remember when that game happened, I genuinely thought Belgium had arrived. I thought they were here. My hopes for them were finally realized. It was an amazing feeling. And
You're being validated,
Yeah, and then they just got abused by France in the next game. It's gotten to a point now where we're at 2022. These players are getting older.
Yeah.
Some are still just as skilled, with De Bruyne still being just a world-class player. But for me, a lot of that attraction that existed there for the Belgian squad, it's no longer there, man.
It's hard for me to get excited about this Belgium team anymore. And I think it's because there really is no influx of new players anymore. But it's not even that. It's the same group, that same golden generation, now just more experience. Now, the problem is that experience should have come to fruition already. Yeah. It should have led to a finals appearance. The amount of talent that they had, the age at which all of their players were at, they were all in their prime between 2016 and 2020. Nothing was able to come out of it, really. Yes, they were able to go deep-ish in most of their tournaments, quarterfinals appearances, right? But they should have gone to a final by now, and they haven't. So at that point, you take this Belgian side, now they're not in their prime. They're not old, but they're right in between.
Right. If they didn't do it then, what gives you any reason to think they'll do it now? That's a good point.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my main point is we've seen what their prime golden generation can do. Now it's the same guys, just a little bit older. Experience goes a long way, but that experience should have already paid off, and it hasn't. Now, here's the thing. They're still very talented, and I think there's still probably, top 10, top 12 teams in the world, solely because pound for pound,
FIFA rankings think they're the best team in the world. Number one.
Belgium against a weaker team will always dominate, simply because they're going to outdo you position for position. It's that simple. But when it comes to these, we've seen it obviously over the past decade, when it comes to these big games where a team that's ranked lower than them but is actually in form and on fire, Belgium can't cope. Yeah. Not only can they not cope, they just can't even compete. Every time they get to a very far stage in the tournament and they need to have a performance of their lives, it just never comes. And they always underwhelm once they get to that stage. So I could see Belgium getting out of this group. I could see them actually even getting in the quarters, which is, top 8 in the world. And I think the same thing is going to happen. They're going to play a team who's better than them, and they're not going to know how to win that game. The same thing's going to happen. And at that point, Belgium's just weak and old, and they're just done.
Grandpa Belgium,
man.
Let's go visit Grandpa Belgium. That sounds like a real guy.
That's what's scary, though, is if you're looking at the future, I don't know what you get excited about 2026, man. Yeah. Because De Bruyne is just not going to be the same player in 4 years.
He's going to be on a cane.
Yeah, man. No, seriously. Just straight up.
Lukaku's already dropped in quality so much. Hazard is
non-existent at this point. Yeah. Yannick Ferreira Carrasco, same thing. He's losing his pace. He's losing his physicality. He's a huge portion to this Belgian offense, and he's already waning. This is it for Belgium. If they want to do anything, this is literally it for them, because I just don't see where their future goes. I think we're going to see a very confused Belgium after this tournament.
You remember how on fire Eden Hazard was at that tournament, man? Yeah. Incredible, just touch play, 1-2, getting past people, drawing fouls. He was so good that tournament.
That's the thing, is that, and it adds on to my point of just not being excited for this team anymore, because we don't have that. Hazard was, arguably one of the better dribbling midfielders for like a good 4 or 5 year period, just in Europe, in world football. He was one of, if not the best. De Bruyne 4 years ago had just hit his stride as being one of the elite attacking midfielders in the world. Yeah. And so if you just have those two players on a pitch, your eyes are glued to the screen. Your eyes are glued to that pitch. Post the tournament here, I think a lot of the players are just going to go off the wall, man.
The aftermath for Belgium will be really interesting to see. But on the opposite spectrum of a team that might be in the decline, we have a team that is purely on the rise.
They're going to the moon. They have a rocket strapped to their back,
strapped to their back, man.
They're just going straight up, and they don't know how to get. They don't know how to go down.
Straight for the moon, man. It's the Canadian national team.
Let's go.
CONCACAF. First place in CONCACAF. Dominated this qualifying cycle, making a name for themselves after years of not being a part of this tournament or not even being relevant in the landscape of football, Canada has risen to the top of everyone's list of teams to watch, and they are here. They have arrived. Yeah. They have qualified for Qatar 2022.
One thing that's so special about this team is that if you had asked me 4 years ago, was this Canadian team going to do anything even worth noting, I would have definitively said no.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to even be in the hexagonal, the octagonal, what it eventually become. There's no way that they're going to even compete. And even if they did, they'd finish 6th, 5th, 7th, 8th, whatever the hell it ended up being. And instead, as you just said, they skyrocketed to the top, becoming the best team in the region. And that's what I love about this, is that not only are they the best team in the region points-wise, but you just see it with your own eyes. If you watch Canada play, you're like, oh, this team is better than the U.S. This team is better than Mexico.
This specific draw that they've gotten makes things really interesting. Anyone can be anyone in this group. Canada could be the top team or they could be the worst team.
Yes.
Belgium, same thing. Morocco, same thing. Croatia, same thing. Every World Cup, there's always that one team. If you follow their path during qualification, you become enamored with, you fall in love with. 2014, Costa Rica, the best example of this, where they made it to the quarterfinals. 2018, for us, it was Peru, where the incredible qualifying campaign. For me this year, it's very clear that it's Canada.
So clear, dude.
When I think about teams like that, magical teams like that, the biggest question for me for each one of those teams, and the thing that ultimately decides whether they'll achieve success in the tournament or not, is luck. Will luck be on their side or not?
Yeah.
Obviously, these teams are very supremely talented. Costa Rica was super talented, but they even went to penalties against Greece at one point, and they got lucky. They went through the quarters. Yeah. They then got a little unlucky and lost in the quarterfinal. Peru, I think we could say, got unlucky. Cristian Cueva, we mentioned it in the Group D video, misses a penalty. Yeah. And then that changes the whole scope of the whole group.
Yeah.
Canada, my biggest concern isn't how they'll play. It's about, will luck be on their side? Because if it is, brother, if that luck is there, I think Canada is capable of the same things Costa Rica achieved in 2014, if not more. I think Canada could, and I will say this now, top this group, go to the round of 16, and who knows what the fuck happens from then on.
This group is tricky. Any team could take this tournament by the throat and propel themselves to the top of this group.
Yeah.
Croatia even could, even though we've deemed them as a little old. Belgium, even though we've deemed them as maybe a little uninspired. Yeah. Morocco, just with the inexperience and, maybe they haven't played against top teams frequently. All that being said, you insert Canada in this situation, and they play one of the most exciting styles of football in world international soccer, and they're also in this group. Yeah. This group, as you have just perfectly put, there is no definitive third or second place team. No matter how good Canada has played, I cannot definitively say that they're better than Morocco, who now have a new influx of players that Halilhodžić has just brought in, and it's worked. I cannot say that Canada's better than a very experienced Belgium and Croatian side. What I can say is just what you said, though, to echo it. Canada will entertain. Just like Peru did in 2018 and just like Costa Rica did in 2014. Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that Canada will catch the hearts of the people all across the globe and just enjoy their style of football. They're going to entertain. These games are going to be high octane. And I honestly think Canada can do anything in this group. If they get a little lucky, not even that much, I think they could top this group. With the talent that they have, the energy, the passion that they play the sport with, this Canadian team can go to the round of 16 easy. I think they got an unlucky draw, if I'm being completely honest. Honestly, I think they're one of the more difficult groups just as far as competition is concerned. Maybe there's not a Spain or Germany in here, but I think it's just as difficult simply because I see all of these teams pretty much on a very similar caliber. This is going to be incredible to watch. Yeah. Because this is why the World Cup exists. You pit these four incredibly talented, incredibly just fun teams to watch. You put them all in one group. And let's see what two teams can come out on top. Because this is going to be a brawl. This is going to be a battle, man. It's going to be honestly just a spectacle to watch.
To close this group out, in first place, I got to have one really hot take in this World Cup group stage predictions that we're making. And I think this is going to be the one that I'm going to back up till the day of the tournament. I have Canada topping this group, followed by Belgium getting second place.
I actually agree.
Whoa.
So I like how you said this, because this is how I judge this group, the eye test. All of the negatives that I talked about and that we talked about Croatia, Belgium, and Morocco, I think those negatives are going to ultimately do them in against Canada. Yeah. I think Canada's positives are too heavy. They're too heavy to ignore in a tournament where you get rewarded usually for just playing beautiful football, which Canada do. I think they come out on top, man. I see Canada beating Croatia. This Croatian side isn't better than them, just more experienced. But I don't think that'll go a long way for Croatia in this tournament. And Morocco, I think they're a little bit inexperienced, just like Canada is. But I think on paper, or maybe not even on paper, but on the eye, Canada's better than Morocco. So a near perfect qualification. This Canadian team is the real fucking deal, man. Every single game that Canada's involved, I'm Canadian. For those 90 minutes, man, I am Canadian. I cannot wait to watch these games.
More so than when the Raptors played the Warriors in those finals, man. Dude, I am Canadian. This is my time to be Canadian.
This is my time, man. I am so excited to watch this team because this is why I watch football, man. To see these stories not only play out, but to see them culminate into something beautiful. Because if Canada... Dude, if they win that first game, oh my God, dude. I'm going to be dreaming of Canada in the semis, man.
Dude, I know. The heights that this team can reach are unimaginable if things go right. And if, as I said, luck is on their side.